Alrighty, with that being said, I will call the meeting to order. City Clerk, please take roll call. And you're on, please.
Mayor Maskey.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Mia.
Present.
Councilman Halmas-Marty. Councilman Parada. Councilman Lisa. Councilman Karpinski.
Present.
Councilman Almarsumi.
Present.
That is quorum, Madam Mayor.
All right.
Then all rise, please.
Roll call. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Baker.
Present.
Mr. Lucas.
Present.
Mr. Khan. Mr. Hadwan. Mr. Obey.
Present.
Mr. Chowdhury.
Present.
Myself, present. We have a quorum.
All right, now we can rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to extend a welcome to everyone who's here. I've been asked to offer some brief overviews and to review the memorandum of understanding later in the agenda, as you see. The brief overview that I want to offer is that this group, the two bodies, the Board of Education and the City Council, met on two previous occasions, the most recent being March 5th, where the first 2018-1 memorandum of understanding was unanimously endorsed. So a good deal of time has passed and a good deal of effort, I can attest to, was put into getting to this stage this day, which is remarkable on many fronts, remarkable situation. What you have in front of you that I think is tremendous for the Hamtramck community is an opportunity with the successful adoption of the second joint resolution and the successful adoption by Ralph Wilson of the grant application, a chance to do some things that most communities can only dream of, frankly, that I'm aware of. A lot of communities talk about coordinated efforts. This is a good example of one that's on the cusp, the precipice of actually being in place and happening. So my personal congratulations to each and every one of you for taking the bold steps to move forward with this. There is a direct opportunity, as in the last two meetings, where citizens can offer a comment. There's 2 minutes afforded each speaker who would like to do that. There's a card available for them to turn it in, to be recognized, to address either or both boards. Are there any takers? Okay, then I did my job well. At this time, we talked about having a brief update on the progress that both boards did, the City Council and the Board of Education. So Kathy, if you'd like to offer this.
Sure. Since our last meeting, of course, we've continued, Mr. Nichai and I, to work together behind the scenes to bring today to fruition. We, along with the mayor and with President Zrodek, went to the Michigan Municipal League and presented our thoughts for working with them as our fiduciary. And that was warmly met, and that is the reason we are here today, because that was something that the Michigan Municipal League Foundation was interested in being a partner with both the city and the school district on this wonderful project. And so that was one of our happiest moments, was when we left there and then later heard back that we could continue working together to get to this point to present that application. On the city side, I just want to give a brief update. We do have our final pre-development plan for the Hamtramck Historic Stadium, and that's available to all of you as well, and we shared that with those in the room. We are continuing to work on a regular basis, Superintendent Nichai and myself, on not only this project, but other things. And I think that that's an important part of the equation, is that this isn't the only thing we do together. We do other things together, and for those reasons, this working relationship between the Board of Education and the City Council has been excellent. We've got a couple of upcoming events on our green space. One, a vintage baseball game this coming Saturday that we would invite people to come out to. And Each of these kinds of things is showing Hamtramck in a good light and also showing the need for our joint meeting. There's also plans in the works for a cricket soccer clinic the following week with members of the Friends of Historic Hamtramck Stadium. We're continuing to work on the green space. You know, we knew that we're going to displace some soccer games, so we finished our arena soccer at the ice rink. We're putting in some sand volleyball courts, a futsal court, improvements to concrete are coming, and drainage, and hopefully permanent bathrooms on the horizon one day soon. And that's not with money that is grant dollars out there that we're soliciting yet, but these improvements are the things, and also security cameras. We're working on a security plan with Mr. Nichai. These are things that are going to attract other funders because we're taking care of what we already have. Thank you.
From the school district point of view, we invited the Michigan Municipal League Foundation to take a tour of the sites. We did that, I believe it was 3 weeks ago, and it was a fun time. There was a little bit of rain, but we saw Keyworth, we went to the Play Fair, we went around the city, we saw veterans. We took them to a couple of our schools, we showed them the community center, and I want to thank you for taking that 2 hours to spend here in Hamtramck. And the feedback received back was very, very positive. Also, many emails back and forth with the Michigan Municipal League Foundation in terms of questions that we had. Answered them quickly, promptly. Very much appreciate the work, and really looking forward to the next step.
Well, thank you, Kathy and Tom, for that update in both areas of what's going on. Again, in cooperation, it underscores all of these efforts through these meetings to create the MOU status for Hamtramck property. It is my pleasure to introduce the Michigan Municipal League Foundation members here, Mrs. Jennerud and Mr. Johnson. We're delighted to have you here on behalf of the board and the city. You are going to make a great partner from my perspective in this whole endeavor and effort from all that's going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've been asked now, if you're looking at agenda item 8, to do a very brief overview for the consumption of the public, if you will, of what this memorandum of understanding is all about. It is a Hamtramck Recreation District creation, the purpose of which of this agreement is to establish the relationships between the parties in creating a master plan for the Hamtramck Recreation District and the installation of new turf at Keyworth Stadium, which I know many would think about whatever happened because of the cost and impact. The parties intend to develop a master plan primarily for the redevelopment of the areas containing and around the historic Hamtramck Stadium and Keyworth Stadium, but also green spaces and recreational spaces and facilities within the jurisdictions of the city and/or the public schools. The term of the agreement shall be the same as the term of the grant from the Wilson Foundation. And just to highlight a couple of the areas that are unique for those who are attending to this or paying attention to it. The first is the creation of a planning committee, which is the driving force, if you will, of this whole effort should it be approved. And the composition is the city will have 2 members, the city manager plus 1 staff, and then an additional staff to add. The school district, the superintendent plus 1 individual and an additional individual to bring into the arena of this committee. Then the DCFC, the Detroit City Football Club, will have 1 member, and the Michigan Municipal League Foundation will have 2 members. So at any given time, and I'm sorry, the Friends of Historic Hamtramck Stadium will have 1 member. So at a minimum, there would be 8. The maximum per this would be 10, and it would vastly, I assume. The committee also is directed in selecting the planning firm so that everyone recognizes the requirements. There will be an official RFP, request for proposal process. So under any assumptions of all the efforts that will go down in this matter, there will also be requirements that will be followed. The RFP planning firm schedule will also be required to have appropriate meetings for public information and input. So in that process, this is going to be detailed and followed. There's a whole discussion on the payment process. For those of you who are interested, this alone, this line item is put at $174,700 for the final agency or firm that's awarded this. And the city and Hamtramck Public Schools will be responsible for any cost overruns should they appear. Also, the final master plan from the firm that's finally selected will be presented to the Hamtramck Public Schools in the city when completed. So there will be another public unveiling of what the findings are, which I think will be obviously of interest to everyone. The second part of this that's unique is the replacement of turf at Keyworth Stadium. Therefore, there will be created a turf committee. And again, much like the previous one, there will be a specific group of folks who will be involved. Hamtramck Public Schools will have the superintendent and 2 other individuals. DCFC will have 1 individual, and MMLF will have 2 individuals for 6 who will be involved in this. And here again, the issue of this will be an RFP process, similar to the previous one just discussed. There will be on-site inspections provided by the school district to ensure that it meets all the specifications it needs. And there's a whole detailed process on how payments for installation to the installation firm will be handled. And in both instances, the issue of insurance has already been addressed and how it will be handled and covered. So it's a very thorough and precise memorandum of understanding that will be, if adopted this evening by the 2 bodies, it will be a formal process and a formal memorandum of understanding. With that, the action item that is next, under number 9, is the specific joint resolution this evening that's being proposed as 2018-2. And if you would like to comment on that.
So do you want me to read the resolution and then someone can make the motion and then we can have discussion? Joint Resolution 2018-2, a joint resolution of the Hamtramck City Council and Hamtramck Public Schools Board of Education with the Michigan Municipal League Foundation regarding the creation of the Hamtramck Recreation District. Whereas the Hamtramck City Council and Hamtramck Public Schools Board of Education wish to join with the Michigan Municipal League Foundation to create a Hamtramck Recreation District Master Plan and replace the turf in Keyworth Stadium. And whereas the creation of such will require a memorandum of understanding evidencing the intent of the applicants that the plan include the coordinated use of resources by each, whereas the Michigan Municipal League Foundation will assume fiduciary responsibility for these efforts, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Hamtramck, Wayne County, Michigan, and the Board of Education of the Hamtramck Public Schools that the Hamtramck City Council hereby executes a memo of understanding that will enable the school district and city to jointly oversee the development of a master plan for the Hamtramck Recreation District and the replacement of the turf at Keyworth Stadium.
Support.
Discussion, questions, concerns?
I just have one quick question about the title. Should this be creation of the Hamtramck Recreation District Master Plan? I mean, we're not creating a recreation district with this resolution. I don't know how much it matters, but
Well, I believe what the intent is, Madam Mayor, is to have a recreation district that is total and complete. The plan is to actually have a site that is a destination in southeastern Michigan.
well, I
And we
understand.
believe that we want it to be an entire district, similar to...
But I understand that, but I don't see this resolution creating a district. I just see it authorizing us to work together on a master plan and replace the turf. I don't see this creating the district, this resolution. That's why I'm confused about the title. I mean, nobody argues that, you know, that a district could be a good thing, but
Do you want to add the words master plan in the title?
I think that would be appropriate. We're not creating a district here. We're not laying out the boundaries of the
So the
district.
memorandum,
That's fine.
you said?
I don't have an objection with adding the word master plan to the title. Either defend.
I'm all right with it. I think at a later time, we could probably have like a specific resolution that does create the
Yeah, I mean, I would,
district once the.
yeah, I mean, I would think that the district, we would lay out boundaries, we would talk about, you know, jurisdictions, we would.
Yeah, no, I mean, my understanding, so I think I had assumed that we were both creating a framework for a master plan and potential future projects. But yes, it sounds like there are some parts of that conversation we may have not had to this point to define that district would be. In my head, it was assuming that it was all city and school district property, but that's, other people are unclear. It should probably be narrowed at the moment and then opened up later.
Get a motion, go ahead, read the motion, then we'll make
Well,
it official.
I was gonna say, when this resolution, motion was made by Councilwoman Kirkowski, I think it should have been seconded, or at least seconded by a member of the board. So that it's not, well,
We each do it separately. Your quorum is different than our quorum, we have to do it separate. Two
That's what we did
separate,
back in March.
so,
two separate bodies, so you guys go first, we'll go second.
so you guys have another resolution?
Same thing, but it's just on our end, so you have to officially do it on your end, we do it officially on our end, and then it becomes,
All the votes are
Thanks
one,
for
one,
reminding
all
us.
signed.
then if you pass it and we pass it, then we jointly pass it, and it becomes one.
Yes.
Amend your motion.
Amend the motion to include that
So I'll amend the motion to include master plan after.
in turf replacement.
Last time.
In turf replacement.
And hope, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Very good. Okay, we have a motion to amend the joint resolution. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
So
Anything
I have
else?
a question regarding the, I guess, breakdown of the committee. It says that there would be the city manager plus staff. Does that imply that it would not be one of the elected officials and it would in fact be a staff member of City Hall? Okay.
Right.
No further questions.
Any other questions, discussion? All right. Then we have a motion to approve the joint resolution of the Hamtramck City Council and Hamtramck Public Schools Board of Education with the Michigan Municipal League Foundation regarding the creation of the Hamtramck Recreation District Master Plan and turf replacement. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes.
Take us to our end. I have agenda item C. Do I have a motion by a member?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Major. Do I have a second by Mr. Lucas?
With your mention.
Correct. Whereas the Hamtramck City Council and Hamtramck Public School Board of Education wish to join the Michigan Municipal League Foundation to create a Hamtramck Recreation District Master Plan and replace the turf in Keywood Stadium. And whereas the creation of such will require a memorandum of understanding evidencing the intent of the applicants that the plan include the coordinated use of resources by each. Whereas the Michigan Municipal League Foundation will assume fiduciary responsibility for these efforts. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council, the City of Hamtramck, Wayne County, Michigan, and the Board of Education of Hamtramck Public Schools that the Hamtramck City Council hereby executes a memorandum of understanding that will enable the school district and city to jointly oversee the development of a master plan for the Hamtramck Recreation District and the replacement of the turf at Keywood Stadium. Any questions? Any discussion from the Board of Education? I will do a roll call vote on our end. Mr. Major?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mo?
Aye.
Mr. Shokat?
Aye.
Myself? Aye. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. 2, 4, 5.
time, if you'd like to offer any comments, your experience.
Thank you so much to everyone for hosting us tonight. The Michigan Municipal League Foundation is very excited about our joint project. We've really enjoyed working with all of our partners, and we are very positive about the project, the overall project to create the master plan. We know that should the Wilson Foundation choose to fund the project, that it's going to be a very important and meaningful project for the community, and we are very excited to be a part of that. So thank you for letting us participate with you in this project.
Thank you for being part of it.
Yes.
They were a critical link, I can offer that, in the whole process since last we met in March, that the Ralph Wilson folks Foundation was very specific about a third-party entree that either can't do it on their own, which is understandable. The other thing I can offer is that in our work countywide with all the 33 districts, this is the only one that I'm aware of that's gotten this far. So just to offer that as a reflective comment, I know of a couple who tried and it didn't pass. It didn't go further with Ralph Wilson. So this stands an interesting test of time, if you will, and we're hopefully very genuinely optimistic of the next steps. With that said, I believe that now that this resolution has been adopted by both bodies, the district and the city with MML will file the application with Ralph Wilson Foundation. We are understanding that the Ralph Wilson Foundation, after receipt of this document and these actions taken this evening, they're having their meetings, and we're hopeful that at their November 12th and 13th meeting, or shortly thereafter, we'll hear the final results. So to give you a point in time, we know for sure they're meeting on the 12th and 13th of November. We're hopeful that this will be unanimously endorsed, and therefore the proverbial check will be in the mail, as I'm told, and that things could start January 2019. So this is really quite monumental. Again, from my experience, I'm sure of many others, this is not common for a community to rally together this dramatically in this fashion. So we're very, I know you all are very optimistic that this will be secured from Ralph Wilson and set as a milestone for school districts and cities working cooperatively for all of its citizens. Marvelous. Next, there has to be a formal motion for adjournment, unless there are other questions or member comments. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to thank the MML Foundation and to remind folks that the foundation is an adjunct of the MML, and as a charitable foundation, it accepts donations and welcomes donations, I'm sure, and I hope that all of you would consider that tax-exempt opportunity. The other thing I wanted to ask actually is the vintage baseball game. What era are we talking about? What era vintage?
I don't know, Mayor, I'm not involved, but vintage baseball teams play by different rules. They're all 19th century. Some of them play by 1860s rules, some of them play by 1880s rules, some of them play by an eclectic mix of rules from different time periods.
Hey, thanks, Gary. Actually, I was wondering because, I used to do historical reenactment and I'd like to dress up for the baseball game, but I have to know, is it 1860s or 1880s?
And I don't know the
I
answer.
will reach out to Tom Derry and send an email, and I'll include you, Mr. Nietzsche, and you can forward to your board as well.
Okay, that's all I have to say. Thanks, everybody, for being here and working on this project. Anybody else on the?
Decided to keep it moving.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it. Put it on our side.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? All right.
Do I have a motion, Evan, and seconded by Mo? Resolved, meeting be adjourned at 6:55 PM. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?